Magic the Gathering just did the thing where trading cards start eating their own tail. Wizards of the Coast confirmed the Star Trek crossover set hits shelves November 20th, and buried in the collector's boosters is a first for the game. Physically autographed chase cards, not a printed signature, an actual pen touched an actual card. So far, Captain Kirk, signed by William Shatner, and Captain Janeway, signed by Kate Mulgrew, with 5 more autographs still under wraps. Wizards has been drifting towards a full sports card model for years. Showcase parallels, serial numbers, hot stamped autographs on other properties, and now it's got real celebrity ink to match. MagicCon Amsterdam 2027 sets MagicCon Tour and a secret layer avalanche. Wizards use MagicCon Amsterdam to dump basically all of 2027 on fans at once. 3 original setting premiere sets are locked in. Noctis, The Sunken Realm, and Underwater Merfolk Plane drops February 5th. Kamigawa, Titan Breach, which is exactly the kaiju versus mech crossover it sounds like, smashing Ikoria into Kanagawa, lands June 4th. And Zephyr, an Afro-fantasy set built around Teferi's home plane, closes out the year October 1st. There's also 3 more Universe Beyond sets confirmed for April, August, and November, though Wizards isn't saying what they are yet. And the full 2027 MagicCon Tour is locked in too. Detroit, Tokyo, Las Vegas, Amsterdam, again to close the loop. And that's before you even get to the secret layer pile from the same panel. The headline is a Masters of the Universe super drop turning the Eternians into Magic cards, hitting September 14th. Stack on top of that 3 Stardew Valley drops in a couple weeks, a Hatsune Miku Commander deck in August, a Hobbit super drop with silver foil chase card, a Lo-Fi Girl drop, and yet another Marvel wave. This one starring Jeff the Landshark as one of Earth's mightiest pets. 6+ licensed properties, 1 panel. Wizards isn't diversifying Magic anymore, it's just directly merging with the internet. I'm sure this isn't a cash grab. Community investigation links Avalon Hill's Fury of Dracula to AI art. Hasbro's board game arm just got dragged into the AI art discourse, and this time it's not some scrappy indie publisher, it's Avalon Hill. A community investigation on our board games put a pretty solid case that the box art for the new 5th edition of Fury of Dracula was AI generated, tracing the classic Uncanny Valley tells back to one of the 3 credited studios, Lincoln Design Company, whose client list includes Hot Wheels, Nike, and Universal Pictures, and who has, in an old interview, openly admitted to using AI to speed up the early stages of their work. The other 2 credited studios weren't confirmed either way, but the overall verdict from the investigation was, yeah, that's AI. This follows a nearly identical controversy at the much smaller Lock and Load Publishing just a week earlier, except this time, it's the biggest fish in the pond, and so far, radio silence from Hasbro. No statement, no denial, nothing. Convenient. Spiel des Jahres 2026 winners announced. Ditto heads to the US as Jinx 0. Germany handed out the Spiel des Jahres award, which is still the single biggest sales-driving stamp of approval in the entire hobby. Ditto took the big one, Game of the Year, a points and perspective game from Indonesian studio Table Toys, designed by Martin Ang. Reiner Kniz's Rebirth picked up the Enthusiast Prize, and Mookie Island took the Kids category. The only catch, Ditto wasn't available in the US when it won. That got fixed fast. It's launching stateside under the name Jinx 0 through ACD and Alliance, 4 to 7 players, 30 to 45 minutes, $29.99. Reprints are already running because a Spiel des Jahres win means demand shows up whether or not the supply chain is ready for it. So if you've been burned by Game of the Year hype before, this one's actually already on the way to a shelf near you. It just changed its name to sound less German at the border. Ogor Mawtribes Battletome lands, the payoff to this week's Warcry tease. Remember earlier this week when Games Workshop got cornered in a Warhammer Q&A and admitted Warcry, the skirmish game everybody assumed was quietly dead after 2 years of silence, is actually getting new rules tied to the incoming Ogor Mawtribe miniatures? Well, the other shoe just dropped. The new Ogor Mawtribes Battletome for Age of Sigmar's 4th edition is out with reviewers, and it's a genuine overhaul, not a reskin. Nobblers are gone. The Grey Mawpot terrain piece is gone. No expansion given. Several older units got shuffled off to Legends, including Frost Sabers and Lead Belt. In their place, a new infantry dual kit, a new cavalry dual kit, and a brand new named hero, Grell Firefist, who runs around with a mobile cannon and can literally counterspell enemy command abilities. Even the classics got downsized. Gluttons and Iron Guts both shrank their unit sizes and lost some of their old tricks. The overall vibe: less charge in and eat everyone, more stack 6 buffs and then eat everyone. Same result, more spreadsheets required. Mark Rosewater's Dark Night of the Soul, Magic's designer gets real about universes beyond. Magic's head designer, Mark Rosewater, had a genuinely reflective moment on Blogatog this week, responding to a fan who accused him of years of basically gaslighting people who hate universes beyond. Magic's whole "let's put Marvel and Fortnite and everything else in the game" initiative, and instead of the usual deflections, Rosewater actually sat with it. He revealed he's got a podcast episode coming called The Dark Night of the Soul, where he compares today's universes beyond backlash to his own years-long personal struggle accepting Commander's takeover of the game, back when that felt like a fundamental identity shift too. He laid out 3 real options for unhappy players: accept it, build your own bubble, or walk away, and flatly ruled out the 4th option everyone actually wants, which is turning the clock back. It's rare to see a designer this size actually validate the grief instead of arguing people out of it, and the community noticed. This was the top post on the whole subreddit that day, except it still doesn't fix the problem, and Magic is still coming out with ridiculous sets, so take that for what you will. WTC publicly calls out players for hiding army lists before the big event. Competitive Warhammer 40k had its own little spy thriller moment this week. The World Team Championship, one of the biggest international 40k events on the calendar, had to issue a public statement because some WTC-bound players have been hiding their army lists on the tournament pairing app at other events, even from people playing in the same room as them, apparently to keep a competitive edge while still getting practice reps in. The community reaction was swift and pretty brutal. Lots of "that's just cheating with extra steps" energy on Reddit. The WTC's response asked organizers to stop giving these players special treatment, but notably handed out 0 actual punishments, leaving enforcement entirely up to whoever's running the local event. So problem acknowledged, solution outsourced. Very on brand for competitive tabletop. WTC itself runs August 11th through 16th in Belgium, so we'll see if anyone actually enforces this. Quick break. If you're newer here, I also run Makeover and TCG on eBay, grading and sourcing Lorcana cards. It's a weird year to be in that particular corner of the hobby, watching Magic bolt 6 new IPs onto itself every single week while Lorcana just quietly keeps being Lorcana. There's something almost restful about a game that isn't currently trying to be Star Trek, Marvel, and a farming sim at the same time. If you're hunting for graded Lorcana singles or just want something priced fairly instead of aspirationally, the shop's link is in the description. I run scanners every day to make sure prices are fair, and I just pulled an iconic, so that's going to be into the shop as soon as it gets graded. Now back to the news. All right, it's time for the Board Shark News Nibbles. Let's nibble through the rest of the week before this turns into a full course meal. Riot Games is going all in on Riftbound as an actual esport. They announced the game's first North American Regional Championship, part of a new December event in Vegas called Convergence Fest, running alongside a teamfight tactics tournament. Top 64 qualifiers, full con programming, the whole deal. Less than a year after launch, and they're already building a world championship pipeline. Krafton and Card Monsters are making a physical PUBG Battlegrounds card game, designed by the massive Verse fighting card game team. They're genuinely all we know. No mechanics, no date, just a playtest program and a battle royale game with 75 million players betting its luck on cardboard. Ludus Magnus Studios announced Blasphemous the board game, adapting the grimdark video game into a 1 to 4 player narrative crawler with customizable dice, but you'll be waiting a while. It doesn't hit shelves until June 2027 at a suitably grim $169. Eldfall Chronicles, a fantasy skirmish war game that's been Europe only for years, finally opened US pre-orders for its Northern Wind core box. 15 minis, a full cooperative dungeon crawl, 33 possible endings, $241, landing in late August. Also from Wizards, another way to make you pay money. A 5-card Silver Age Marvel Secret Lair dropping through their infamously chaotic Chaos Vault storefront, which for this drop opens at 4 a.m. Eastern because apparently annoying North American collectors is a design philosophy now. Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Orient Express is finally actually shipping, 3 years after it was announced. Co-op crisis management, cultists disguised as train passengers, $135, out September 30th. Sometimes Finally Real is a whole new story on its own. Flesh and Blood hit a real milestone. Usurp the Shadow Throne is the game's 20th booster set in 7 years. 263 cards, out September 25th, with Shadow heroes Levia, Malice, and Viscerai staging a coup. 20 sets in 7 years is a genuinely wild release pace. Parabellum's dropping 3 new Conquest miniatures at Gen Con, a monstrous cavalry unit, 2 Sorcerer King spellcasters, and a con-exclusive fish gnome, because every wargame needs at least one little weird fish guy. Little Wars TV quietly launched something genuinely useful, the Wargame Library, a free, curated hub of wargame rules, scenarios, and old magazines, so you don't have to dig through 11 dead forum links to find a free rule set anymore. Community infrastructure, not a product, but worth a bookmark. And Flesh and Blood's Pro Tour Las Vegas wrapped, with Ausilio taking 3 out of the top 8 slots, and surprisingly Betsy grabbing 2 in the first major ever event since Victor got benched to Living Legend status. If you play Guardian, Betsy might be your new problem child, which is not a sentence I thought I would ever say. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you for watching. If you're new here, subscribing will genuinely help a channel like this grow more than you'd think. So if any of this was useful, or even just mildly entertaining, please consider subscribing. No idea what next week holds. Could be a quiet week. Could be another 6 crossover MagicCon style news dump. That's tabletop news for you. See you then.